And I think we are ready for some Tetris effect. HardDrop, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Edobean. My name is Blink. I'm the founder of the HardDrop community. I've been playing competitive Tetris for about 15 years now, so it's been a really long time. And joining me on the couch tonight is Microblizz on my left. He's also been part of the community for a long time, and he's been a long time world record holder for fastest Tetris player in the world. So, and these two guys we just met a little while ago. I actually don't even know their names yet.
I'm Clifford, and I'm Eudaimonistic.
But they were asking pretty good questions as me and Microblizz were doing our practice runs earlier. So we figured they might be great people to add to the couch and get another perspective. So yeah, Clifford and what?
What GDQ is all about? Making friends.
Yes, exactly. And no, honestly, GDQ has been showing us nothing but love so far. But yeah, the game we're streaming tonight is Tetris Effect on Journey Mode on Expert difficulty level. So, Edobean, whenever you're ready. 3,
Right. 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so right from the beginning, you'll notice that Blink is going to be stacking for Tetrises for the majority of this run. That's probably one of the most optimal stacking methods that you want to go for, just because it leads to the most time saves that you can get from this game. Usually he stacks the first piece, so it's going to be very different every time that he's going to be playing this, the opener at least. So this time around, he actually started with a 6-3 stack. So basically, that's when you segregate the board to 2 different sections, 2 different stacks. One side being 3 wide and the other being 6 wide. Looks like you actually converted the stack a couple times since I made that explanation.
Because I messed up.
Yeah, it's sometimes you do have to adjust your stack based on the positioning and the pieces that are coming in. This is one of those games where quick and minute adjustments are very important. Adaptivity, you want to be able to deal with a bunch of different situations, as you never know what's going to happen.
So besides being gorgeous, what makes this different from other Tetris games?
Well, one of the things is this is most referred to as modern Tetris, or guideline is another way of saying it. So in comparison to other games like NES Tetris has really blown up as of recently. Another speedrunner, Kevin DDR and the TGM crew, for example, that's another version of Tetris. What differs from that is with guideline Tetris, there's something called a bag randomizer. So with the bag randomizer, basically, the 7 pieces that you've grown to know over the years that appear in this game, basically bag randomizer or 7 bag is when you take all 7 pieces and you throw them into a bag, shake it up, and then throw them and spit them back out in the game. And the pieces, because of that, end up becoming pretty predictable in terms of what pieces you know are going to come out. So you know you're going to get one of every piece every 7 pieces.
So pretty much if you haven't received a piece in a while, you know it's coming out pretty soon.
So you were talking about the 6-3 stack and the different ways of segregating everything. What are the benefits of a 6-3 compared to, like, right now it's kind of
6-3 stack, that's actually regarded as one of the most optimal stacking methods, at least for, well, especially for this version of the game. So this is essentially Tetris Marathon with fireworks. One of the benefits of 6-3 stacking is just because of the predictability of the bag randomizer. What's possible is that you can place the same pieces in random iterations on either side of the field. So for example, the 3-wide part of the 6-3, you ideally want the O piece, L piece, and J piece. Those fit really nicely together in a neat little box. And naturally, the other 4 pieces you place into a random order. Yep. And the other pieces you place in, in a continuation fashion in the other side of the field as well.
So I heard some clapping earlier for the area clear. The goal of this mode is to clear 27 different stages, and to clear each stage, you have to clear 48 lines, except for the last stage. The last stage requires 90 line clears. And each stage has its own, as you guys have seen already, its own like graphics, sounds, and music to sort of add to the immersion, as well as each stage has its own levels of gravity.
So Blink was actually, HardDrop was actually going over the line clears. One of the reasons why you want to go for 6-3 stacking or with any stacking method that provides you with Tetris is because it's the most optimal way of being able to reduce your time. And so one of the mechanics in this game is every time that you clear a line, you actually encounter something called line clear delay.
Oh, yeah, let me demonstrate that right now. So, okay, well, that's a bad time to show it, but but when you clear lines, there's that animation to make the lines disappear, and that goes on for like a third of a second or so. So you want to minimize that as much as possible if you want a good overall time.
Right, so one of the benefits of stacking for Tetris is to avoid that exact scenario. So, for example, if you stack for Tetrises, you're clearing the maximum amount of lines that you can get off every single time, and so you encounter the least amount of line clear delay.
So I see that we're trying to get 48 lines per stage. Is there any benefit to landing exactly on 48, or?
Yes, because lines that you clear over 48 do not carry over to the next stage. So ideally, what you want to do is aim for 48. Sometimes the situation doesn't really allow for it without slowing you down. So I'm not too focused on that right now.
It's kind of difficult under pressure, but one of the things that's so great about Guideline Tetris is, again, because of the predictability of the pieces that you are probably going to get within a certain time frame, you're able to stack in patterns that would allow you to... So for example, with Tetris Sprint, for example, 40-line mode, where you clear 40 lines as quickly as possible, that's really the stacking method that we're kind of mimicking in this sense. So for example, in 40-line mode, you consistently, if you clear with a perfect clear at the very end of the game and you have nothing left on the board, then you should be able to clear it with 100 pieces every single time. So given that you have to clear 48 lines, you want to reduce the amount of lines that you waste after the level is over.
Makes sense. I don't even know how you can concentrate on the game with all the fireworks going on.
It's not easy.
Talk about the game and do these amazing things all at the same time.
Oh, T-spin for flex.
What about this? What do you know about that?
So this is obviously the speed run of the game. Is part of the community dedicated to score attack or anything like that, like getting the maximum possible score through this?
Well, there's actually a whole bunch of stuff that you could do with Tetris, and one of the things that was becoming really popular over the last couple of years is just speedruns in general. So, for example, there are a couple of top players that are actually world record holders in this game, actually. Blink being one of them. So he actually holds the...
No, the North American.
Yes.
North American record.
Yeah.
But I think the world record holder for fastest speedrun on this game is from Japan, actually. Amamaya.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, one of the cool things on this stage, and I didn't even know if it was possible, but just to add to the immersion aspect of the game, I don't know how enhanced games did it, but your controller actually heats up a little bit on this fire stage.
Are you sure you're just not moving really, really fast?
Nah, I totally made that up, actually. but somebody watching right now probably fell for that.
Me. So how do you prepare for all these effects? I mean, the visuals have got to be distracting.
Oh, for sure. Actually, I know a lot of people who do speedrun this. Well, not a lot. I know a handful of people who speedrun this game. And when they do, they turn down the effects because they can be so distracting. I don't know if you guys saw in some earlier stages where fog would roll up into the front of the screen, or what else? Just,
that gear level.
yeah, the gear level. So some people, they turn the effects off like pretty low, as well as, trying to think, yeah, pretty much just they disabled the custom blocks per stage. You can make it so that your blocks are the same every single stage if you wanted to. It's an option, but I feel like that's not really how the developers intended this game to be played. So I really wanted to show this game off in its full glory.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Enhanced Games did an amazing job with this game. They're one of the few Tetris developer companies that I feel really care about their game. And they're super responsive on Twitter and social media. Whenever a bug gets reported, it's usually fixed pretty quickly. So huge props to them, and I hope they come out with a multiplayer Tetris game, because I know they would do a good job at it.
I mean, Tetris 99 worked.
Oh, Tetris 99 is good too.
Proven good, awesome multiplayer Tetris exists in multiple ways.
Oh yeah, and there are a bunch of options for you to be able to get into Tetris these days too. This is on the PS4, but there's options to play Tetris at a competitive level on pretty much every console these days.
Are my ears deceiving me, or is the music going in time with your drops?
So each drop plays a sound, and the sound matches very well with the music. So that's probably what you're hearing. It's part of the immersion that Enhanced designed this game.
That's incredible.
Yeah, if you think this is crazy, you guys should check this game out in VR. This game has VR support, and it's crazy. It makes you blink your eyes whenever you clear pieces, because all the particles, you think something's gonna like get into your eyeballs.
Oh, that's the other thing with the VR headset. It's got a higher refresh rate. Would you say that's any better for this?
I'd say it does feel smoother, but way more distracting. Like I said before, it makes you blink a lot.
That makes sense.
Well, what you said about the refresh rate is definitely going to be an important factor, and especially like once the game, especially for higher paced games like. In multiplayer especially, very minute and reactionary kind of things. You don't really want low refresh rate or just like those particles flying in your face. It's very distracting.
I can imagine.
But I do appreciate it, because it's different than a lot of the other Tetris games. Like Enhanced, it's not just a cookie cutter reskin, come out with another Tetris game. They have, actually my favorite single-player Tetris game mode is on this game called Purify mode, which is a downstack heavy, like digging through garbage type of mode. So I do appreciate that they really did put in the effort for this game.
So downstacking is clearing through a bunch of different messed up lines.
Yes, it's pretty much, you have a messy field and you try to dig down from it.
Well, downstacking is really just getting to the bottom of the board in the most efficient way as possible. And there's a lot of different ways that you can actually do that, but just based on downstacking principles, what you essentially want to do is stack in a way that would get you to your next hole. Because if you place pieces over the hole that you need to clear next, then you're obstructing yourself from your direct path to the bottom, and you just keep ascending higher and higher.
Uh-oh.
Totally planned.
Yeah. Just like we rehearsed it.
So we have a $15 donation from Tapping that says, "Hey Blink, Tapping here. I'm so happy that you're repping the Tetris community right now.
Hey.
It's Drop City. Good luck on the run, dude."
Thanks a lot. Very much appreciate that. So pretty much a pretty good typical score is around a minute per stage. If you're completing each stage in about a minute, you know you're probably on record pace.
Seems good.
This feels like a NES level.
I don't know what NES games you were playing.
Or Game Boy.
The original Game Boy in black and white? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Except like in HD.
We have a $500 donation from
Holy-
Shadow Navy.
Wow, thank you so much.
I've been waiting all week for this. Tetris Effect hype!
So I think you guys were explaining to me earlier, a Tetris is when you clear 4 lines at the same time, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. That's where the name of the game comes from.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, just toss them out there. It's really nice to get another perspective because me and Microblizz, we've been playing for so long that a lot of these obvious questions we tend to overlook.
So are there any features that are unique to Tetris Effect that you'll not find in really any other Tetris game? Besides, of course, the VR and the cool effects. Like any mechanics?
That's an interesting question.
Well, I know Purify mode is only found in this game. And I wish more official Tetris games did have something like that. Because that really is a fun single-player mode.
And there are variations of that too. You're referring to like, it's also called cheese mode, I think, on PC modes. Like, basically, it's a downstacking mode so that you have some obstructions on your field, and you basically just have to get to the bottom of the field as quickly as possible.
I was also kind of wondering, what's this max thing in the bottom left corner? Does that mean you're going maximum speed?
No. That max
like.
you see is for a mechanic in this game called Zone, which you'll see at the end of this run. There's a mandatory 1-minute zone mode. But the reason you're not seeing me use it right now is it is a mode it's a mechanic that you use specifically for score, to increase score. What it does is you're put into a mode where you can clear lines, but those lines don't count towards your goal. But they do count towards your scoring. So I'm avoiding it until we have to use it.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of things that Blink is doing that's very particular to this speedrun. I mean, there's just so much possible with Guideline Tetris because, again, of the predictability of the pieces coming in. But the thing about Guideline Tetris is because so much is possible, you can be so optimal in certain things that you're doing as well. So for this game, obviously, we're stacking for Tetrises and such, but a lot of what is being missed is, like, there's actually a whole world of different possibilities with this game. T-spins, as you saw Blink doing earlier, that's not really something that we're focusing on in this run in particular. It's just not beneficial to us. You have to tailor your stacks to your specific purpose, and the queue will tell you what is possible at any given time.
Right, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good tip, is to use your next piece previews to plan out where you want your next 4 or 5 pieces.
So how do you handle the preview? Do you like swap back and forth with your focus, or do you just use your peripheral?
No, I use my peripheral vision. That would require too much work to like look back and forth every time pieces spawn.
Yeah, a lot of what is happening is actually, like, I don't know where Blink is looking specifically, but whenever I play, I look at, like, pretty much at the surface level of the stack. That way you have an idea of what's going on at all times. And the reason why you use peripherals is because so much is happening in this game that if you look for even a second away, then you could have a misdrop, and that could be very detrimental to the entire game.
Right.
Yeah, just watch it lose focus for half a second and it all falls apart.
Exactly, yeah, and it gets even more intense when screen watching or using your peripherals, especially in multiplayer. That gets a lot more complicated because you have to be able to visualize everything that's happening on your opponent's field or somebody else's field at the same time as everything that's happening in your field. And you also have to focus on what's happening with the queue too.
Right, and just some other like fundamental tips I'd give to a player starting out in Tetris trying to get more serious about it is make sure that you're using a control scheme that is balancing the workload between both hands evenly, because that's very important as you start scaling up in speed. You don't want just one hand doing all the work, because not only is it going to slow you down, it's going to increase your chances of injuring yourself, like repetitive stress injury, which I know several players over the years who've had to quit playing this game that they love due to injury. So yeah, make sure you're using good control scheme.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind. There are certainly limitations after a certain point, and you want to be mindful of that because after a certain point, you might not be able to physically get any faster or get any better just because of the keybinds.
All right, fireworks.
All the fireworks.
So it seems like there's a different speed for every stage, and it goes up and down.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but you would think that the more this game goes on, it's just going to get quicker. But there's some stages where the gravity actually slows down, and it really throws you off because the piece ends up in a place where not where you thought it was going to be.
What's the difference between the different levels of speed and gravity, like per level?
Each stage has a maximum of 3 different gravities, with the highest being 20G. 20G basically meaning when the piece spawns, it's going to spawn at the bottom of the field, and you have a short amount of time to put it where it needs to go before it locks into place.
And really, that is one of those situations that we were referring to earlier, that you need to tailor your stack based on what's happening to the game. So for example, just because of the speed limitations in this game, in terms of the gravity, you're forced to play in a very specific way. So for example, once the pieces start spawning and dropping like a rock, you really have to batten down the hatches and have a backup plan at every single point, because you don't know when you're going to misdrop. It's really not something that you can control or just not misdrop. You just have to deal with it as it goes.
Right. Especially in a 40-minute run, misdropping is inevitable.
Yeah, definitely.
That's going to happen.
Your recoveries have been just amazing.
Thanks, dude.
I'd still be on the first level.
Same. I'd probably have like one open column on one far side, not like these optimal strats.
Yeah, there's actually layers to the way that Blink is playing, or HardDrop is playing right now.
I mean, you can call me Blink.
Yeah, actually his username is Blink. HardDrop is actually a community name.
Yeah, that's the name of the community.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect time, by the way. If anyone is interested in getting better at Tetris, make sure you drop by our community, HardDrop. So discord.gg/HardDrop. There's a lot of Tetris fans there. If you're looking to improve, looking for rivals, things like that. Everyone's very nice to one another, encouraging. We just want each other to improve so that we ourselves can have better competition.
That's what it's about, building a community.
And it doesn't matter what your skill level or which version of Tetris you play either. As long as you're a Tetris fan, you're very welcome to join us. Oh, Edobean, this is a good time for donations.
Well, we have a $1,000 donation.
Wow.
Neo7.
Neo?
Yep. It says Hyper HardDrop.
Hyper HardDrop.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Neo. He's a longtime supporter of the HardDrop community.
We also got a $50 donation from Sleeping Puppy that says, I've been looking forward to the Tetris Effect run all week, and task doing all red berries and Celeste is going to be mega hype. We can make it happen, y'all. Thank you to Game Sunquick for another incredible event. Much appreciation to you all for your work, and much love to my awesome husband for binge watching yet another marathon with me. Heart. Aw. Darling Boo donates $1,000.
Wow.
Nice.
They're making it rain.
That says, great Tetris run, fantastic couch. It is a great looking couch, guys. You gotta look at it, dude.
Thanks, Edobean.
Also the beautiful people that are sitting on it, just so great.
Got him.
Night of Need donates $250 that says, Tetris, Taskbot, take my money. we shall. Got another anonymous $1,000 donation. Man, they're throwing it out here.
People love Tetris.
And it says, how has the Taskbot Celestial not been hit yet? That needs to happen. Right now we're at 102,205, and our goal is 175,000. I know we can make it. Let's make it happen.
Come on, Chad, we can make it happen.
I believe.
Speaking of TaskBot and Tetris, we have the NES class, or the next Tetris run right after this, don't we, from
Right.
TaskBot?
I'm looking forward to watching that.
That'll be exciting.
Hey, perfect there. I planned that. This is a really long opener. Ah, crap.
The music is just so good.
Yeah. I believe Enhanced Games won several awards for the soundtrack.
Well deserved.
And how many other Tetris games have a volcano?
So do you find the music helpful for you when you're playing this game?
No, it's kind of nerve-wracking sometimes. The only stage that helps me is, well, there's a stage where there's like, as you're clearing lines, there's kids cheering for you. You'll hear it later.
Certainly pretty to listen to either way.
Yeah, sometimes when the music changes, it just makes your heart beat faster.
We got Badam Rock donating $1,000.
Wow.
Love Tetris, love TaskBot, love Celeste. Let's hit that donation incentive. We also have an $800 donation, has no comment, but their name is Why Not?
There are worse reasons.
It's a great name.
Yummy the Dark, thank you for your $200 donation that says, let's make this happen. I want to see that task happen.
I think we all do.
Yep, I think we all do.
So in this situation with the 5 and the 4, how is that? Oh, well, now.
This one is a more interesting stacking method. Obviously, because you segregated the stack right down the middle, you're going to get more variety. And honestly, that's probably why 6-3 stacking is more preferable in that sense, just because you want to reduce the amount of variability. Because if you have a place for every piece, that's pretty much the best thing that you can hope for. That's when you don't really even need to do much thinking in terms of stacking.
So this is the kids cheering level we're talking about.
Yeah.
Balloons, it's appropriate.
It ended too quickly.
Well, maybe the crowd could cheer for us. I think you deserve it.
Back to the aquarium.
I'll talk about a thematic shift. Anybody else really hungry for candy watching these blocks?
I was just about to say the same freaking thing. I can't believe that. Looking at these things, they're like, they look like candies. I can just pick them up.
Well, I wasn't hungry, but now.
Oops.
Boolamaster donates $100 that says, let's see TaskBot destroy Celeste. I agree.
Nice. Right on 48.
Couple more stages. crap.
Blink, we already went over down stack, and you don't have to misdrop anymore.
Nice. Ethan.
Wow.
Oh, that's right.
Just sitting here in awe of the ability.
I honestly can't think of any other Tetris games I've ever seen that happen in space.
No, Tetris all over everywhere.
I think I just realized there's a hold button in this game. That's how fast it's moving.
Oh, so that's what's on the left. Hard enough when they were all the same color.
Wow.
Nice.
Plays a different song depending on what time of the day you play that too.
This is it. Final stage.
All right. You're gonna get to see what this zone thing's all about.
So just a reminder, final stage requires 90 line clears instead of 48. And the gravity is higher than the previous stages.
So what's so special about this zone mode since this is unique to this game?
It's a score mechanic they added in. You'll see it in about a minute.
Hey, the dolphins are back. Oh, well, they were. That's that speed 20 you were talking about.
Yeah, no more of those previews.
Yeah, so this is the fastest that the game could actually be. So you'll see Blink kind of clearing through some things. Because of the limitation, again, like he has to adjust his stack accordingly. Because it's dropping like a rock, he can't make the side positions as well. So you just kind of have to play depending on like where the game will allow you to go, and just kind of it becomes a little patchwork because of that. But he's able to handle it pretty well. Get back to this base position. You want to keep everything level and flat. You know, you'd never want somewhere where you don't have a placement for a piece coming in, and that's why it's so important to pay attention.
Zone time.
There we go.
Oops, not a good way to start the zone. So zone, this is about a 1 minute mandatory zone where pretty much your line clears become solid lines. And this is pretty much only for score.
So this is what passes for an auto-scroller in this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty new to the speedrun community, to be honest.
Where you're forced to wait.
Okay, yes.
See, we didn't know anything. Now we're the teachers. Look at that.
Best part about attending a GDQ is you get to talk to everybody like that.
Auto scroll time. All right, we got about 15 seconds remaining, so whoever is keeping track of the time, see where I'm gonna just top myself out after that time is up.
So get ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, the run is over.
Time.
All right. Wow.
GG.
That was amazing.
Oh, wow. Thanks, guys.
So that's what Tetris looks like.
Shout out to the HardDrop community. I know you guys are watching right now. Love you guys. Shout out to the Japanese Tetris community, the Latin American Tetris community. I know you guys are restreaming this. Yeah, talk to you guys on Discord later. Thanks, guys.
Amazing job, HardDrop, Blink. But of course, there's more Tetris that we can have, because we are going to be going into Task Bot Block. Give it up for that. But hey, wait, we still got a bonus game that we got to get met here, where it needs to be $175,000. We're at 109. I know we can do it. Come on, guys. Let's make this happen. Speaking of, we have an anonymous $1,000 donation. Let's see that TaskBot run. I agree. And Radio Chew, thank you for your $250 donation that says, Tetris brings back fond memories of long car trips with my family, where my sister and I would trade off my Game Boy, trying to beat each other's scores. She was a lot better than me, so I didn't really get to play much, but I still love those competitions. It's still one of my favorite games to play when I need to take my mind off things. Loving these runs. Keep up the great work. All right, and it's time for a little Twitch ad. We'll be right back, guys, okay? Welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2019, and it's time for a lovely interview with Lang. Take it away.
Howdy, folks. You're watching Summer Games Done Quick 2019. My name is Lang, and I'm one of the engineers here on staff with Games Done Quick. You might have seen me earlier in the week when Jay Hobbs introduced that tech overview video we did. And in that video, one of the topics we touched on was how GDQ uses OBS. And I'm fortunate enough right now to actually be joined by an engineer from the OBS team. And this is Colin Edwards, a.k.a. DDR Boxman. Colin, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Big fans of OBS here in the crowd.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about your role on the OBS team?
So I'm one of the bigger contributors to OBS. So Jim obviously is the original creator and does most of the code, but I try to throw in something here or there to help him out and help you guys out.
Very much help us out substantially a lot in many ways. So one of the things we wanted to talk about was how does GDQ use OBS, and in what ways does that compare and contrast to the way that a home streamer might use OBS?
So surprisingly similar from what I've seen being around here the last couple days. So most professional setups, they'll use like an ATEM or something to composite all their graphics using super expensive hardware. But here they're actually using OBS with the browser source to composite all their graphics on screen.
And even for our signal ingest, for a lot of our game console captures and cameras, we're kind of just using capture cards in a Windows computer. There's nothing that exotic happening there.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard fare going on here.
The one way in which our setup is a little bit unique, though, is that we use a video protocol called SDI. Can you talk a little bit about SDI and the ways in which, or what trade-offs it makes versus more consumer technology such as HDMI?
So it's, first of all, it's a lot cheaper to run a super long distance. So like here, we're in a whole ballroom, so we need to run cables to like the back of the room, and it makes it a lot cheaper to do that. But it also does stuff where, so if you want to output to HDMI from OBS, you have to use a projector and you have to use a graphics card and a GPU, whereas with SDI, we can literally put a card in the box that sends the output feed from OBS into the rest of the signal, and then we can branch that and send it out to the in-house screen, send it out to the upstream feed, which is another instance of OBS,
Yeah, overall, SDI handles splitting the signals a lot better. For instance, a problem that can happen when using OBS's projection feature to get your program monitors is that EDID handshaking can reoccur. So if you have your video signal from your projector going into a splitter, every time you plug a new monitor into that splitter, everything plugged into it might blank out briefly. And SDI is one of the ways in which we can avoid problems like that, letting us easily add new monitors into our signal splitters. Another thing that we do that maybe some folks won't be too familiar with is the way that we use OBS WebSocket. Can you tell the folks a little bit about what that is?
So OBS WebSocket is a way to use either a web server or a web browser to control things in OBS without having to touch the OBS interface, so which is great. Here, there's all sorts of you can remote control into it from, say, another room if something in the show needs to be kicked or something. But the biggest thing here is they've set up a flow where the volunteers get a very unified interface where they can click one or two buttons, and the server software that talks to OBS will go in and reset all the settings, make sure everything's in the right place, and so nobody has to really learn the deep intricacies of how the layouts are set up.
Yeah, so to expand on that a bit more, GDQ uses OBS WebSocket in two primary ways. One, we implement custom control surfaces, as you mentioned, and then the other is after each run, a lot of the parameters that we might have changed for that specific run, such as cropping, get automatically reset, such that at the end of each run, we are back to a known good default state from which our technicians can further prepare for the next run. But I think the most interesting part of the way we use OBS might be the ways in which we misuse OBS.
Oh no.
So what things have GDQ engineering, mainly me, what things have we done that have kind of made you roll your eyes or get the blob sweats going?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, first of all, was getting the SDI stuff working.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about how we first deployed that. It was in this very ballroom.
Well, let's start out. So Lang came to me. He's like, oh, let's implement this feature. It'll be great. It'll be fun. Like, have some hardware. And I was like, oh, that seems easy enough. It's 2 years later. There's still some kinks we haven't worked out. But was it last
SGDQ in this ballroom?
Yeah, so I wasn't here, but I'm sending Lang builds. I think it was midnight, the night before the show starts. I'm like, okay, wait, I think I fixed it.
Yeah, builds coming in hot. Another thing that the GDQ engineering team is sort of infamous for is like recompiling OBS and various plugins, shall we say, hours before the show goes live.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, has this feature been tested? No. Have we made our show depend on it? Absolutely. So we just need to hope that it works.
Yeah. You guys are at least on master this year, though.
Yes, for the first time in a very long time, we're actually just using the normal release of OBS. We're not using a preview build that we've compiled ourselves based off of merging other work in progress branches. So OBS is truly, really maturing as like a professional level broadcast production piece of software. Perhaps we can talk about the issues that we've encountered preparing for this event and what we were doing just the night before the show with audio sync. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so we've had all sorts of issues with the deck link output and getting audio sync to work. Maybe fixed soon. We'll find out.
We're working on it.
We've definitely had a couple shows where we were trying to figure out where the audio sync issue is, and it's like, oh, this is actually literally drifting by 400 milliseconds, but there's not enough memory usage for that, so it's tracking that down. I think we finally have a ground truth, and we're kind of not using the SDI audio in OBS right now for this event, which has prevented that, but
Yeah. So how long have GDQ and OBS really sort of had this relationship?
As far as I know, probably I've been involved for I guess starting 2 years ago about.
And in your experience, is there a very substantial amount of back and forth? These teams feel pretty close, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys hang out in our Discord and tell us all the silly stuff you run into, and then we'll fuss about what's GDQ up to now?
Yeah, definitely. There's a bit of a meme in the OBS Discord that GDQ will, again, as we mentioned, kind of always compile off of master and just run a totally untested build of OBS, because we do sort of run our show at the bleeding edge of what software composition is capable of.
The rumors of there being super secret GDQ OBS builds that nobody else can get.
Yes, even though really all we're doing is just compiling off of the GitHub. And again, so maybe for folks who don't know, can you talk about the fact that OBS is this free and open source software? Maybe folks aren't familiar with this concept.
Oh yeah, so it's Jim wrote it because he didn't like anything else on the market and wanted to stream StarCraft 2 better. So he kind of just cranked on some code for a while, put it out, and he released it under GPL2, I believe, originally. So that means that anybody can get the code, they can compile it, they can add stuff to the code. But it also means that if you do that and anyone you send a build of that also has to get that code you've changed, which means that so your improvements end up getting back into the ecosystem, so that it's not just a fork over here where if we add these little features, it's those tend to make their way back, even if it's indirectly, to build on OBS and make it better for everyone, which is really great.
So unfortunately, we are just about out of time here, but I did want to give you a chance to shout out the OBS crew, and actually, I believe OBS is on some crowdfunding platforms. Can you tell us where folks can find that?
Yeah, so we have if you go to the obsproject.com, I believe, there should be links to a Patreon, which supports Jim directly, and we also have an open collective that you can support the OBS project at large.
Cool. Any shout outs you want to give to other folks on the OBS crew?
Let's see, we got Jim, Fenrir, Ben, the worms over there laughing at me.
Absolutely. Yes, and so I just want to thank Colin for joining us here on the stream, and thank you again so much for your work on OBS, and of course, direct thanks to all of the OBS crew for working on this program. We do up next, though, we have Taz Block starring Taz Bot, and we have that Celeste incentive, which is still unmet, so we need folks to go to gamesdonequick.com/donate right now and get their donations in for that Taz Bot Celeste incentive. That's coming up next, folks. We'll see you in a bit.
Exactly what he said. Right now, we're at $117,449. We want it to happen. We need $175,000 total. Let's go. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. All right, unfortunately, it is my time to go, and it is my last shift. I thank you guys so much for having me, and you're gonna have the lovely Railcoon here, of course, for the task block. Thank you guys so much. I'm Edobean. You guys have a great weekend. You too.
All right, everyone, my name's Railcoon, and I am here to welcome you to Task Block. Are you ready? I have some dire information for you. First of all, you raised over $10,000 during that interview. That's amazing. Keep it up. Second, you need to get your donations ready because I'm telling you right now, once Mario Kart Wii starts, you're going to be glued to the screen. You are not going to want to donate during that, so that means you need to get all of your donations in after Tetris. We need to make a really big push during and after Tetris to get Celeste done because trust me, I've seen the Mario Kart Wii run and you are going to be just stuck. So we have a couple donations and then we're going to be ready, I believe, to throw over very shortly. We're going to start off with an anonymous $1,000 donation that says, I meant to donate earlier, but I could not tear my eyes away from that Tetris run. Let me see that Celeste TaskBot run, and that's exactly what I'm warning you about. So get ready. We're going to be moving into TaskBot very shortly. I believe we're ready. All right, so we need just a few more seconds. So we are going to then instead go for the Big Wah, who donated $50. Thank you very much. And they say, looking forward to Tetris and the task block. And it'd be amazing to see that Task Celeste run. So I wanted to do my part. Let's go, runners. Thank you very much, Big Wah, and it is a good opportunity to remind you that at this point, it does not matter how big your donation. We appreciate them all, and they really do add up. So whatever it is that you feel comfortable giving, we appreciate it very much. And in case you haven't heard recently, the TaskBot Celeste run is going to be all red berries. It's not going to be the same one you saw before. There's going to be a lot of extra content, and there's a couple surprises for you to look forward to. We have $5 from $5 Train, who says, it looks like we're in desperate need of a $5 train for our Celeste TaskBot run. Let's hop on this train. And with that message,